Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about the benefits of learning math. A lot of people view math as an irrelevant subject, something that only enthusiasts of it should study. Especially the unrealistic scenarios given in mathematical problems may be the reason why students view math as useless and boring. Even some engineering and computer science students complain about the relevance of math to their future profession because they have to deal with a lot of calculus in their college education. Although required mathematical skills vary within the engineering branches, many of them simply use software to deal with sophisticated mathematics. Despite of this, math is a mandatory subject along with language, literature, and science in most of the education systems around the globe. Why? Sure, for some people, math is what they do for a living, and math allows us to explain scientific concepts and develop new technologies in various fields. But what if I want to become a musician, or an artist, or something that has nothing to do with math? Why should I learn math? Especially for adolescents, math plays a crucial role in our brain development. A study conducted by the University of Oxford plainly summarizes how math is almost a necessity for this purpose. The study infers that adolescents who stopped studying math exhibited greater disadvantage compared with peers who continued studying math in terms of brain and cognitive development. This is to say that although other subjects like art, natural sciences, and history are studied, not studying math alone leads to a disadvantage in terms of brain development in adolescence. This study was conducted with A-level students in the UK, which have relatively similar age, socioeconomic status, and educational backgrounds. These students have the option to continue their education with or without math. When compared, students who took math for their A-levels seemed to have more gamma-aminobutyric acid in their middle frontal gyrus than the students who did not take math. As you can see from graph D, the probability of lacking math education is inversely correlated with MFG GABA concentrations. This means that as a student lacks more math education, the student will have less MFG GABA concentrations. So what is gamma-aminobutyric acid and what is its relevance to middle frontal gyrus? Gamma-aminobutyric acid is a neurotransmitter that sends chemical messages through the brain and the nervous system and is involved in regulating communication between brain cells. The role of GABA is to inhibit or reduce the activity of the neurons or nerve cells. It also plays an important role in behavior, cognition, and the body's response to stress. And middle frontal gyrus is a part of the frontal lobe of our brain which is responsible for cognitive abilities. It might strike you as odd that something like GABA, which inhibits the activity of neurons, would enhance cognitive abilities. However, another research I found from National Library of Medicine concludes that greater frontal GABA concentrations were associated with superior cognitive performance. Instead of the amount of math education, this study measures varying GABA concentrations in the frontal lobe across different ages. So I do not know how exactly GABA is affecting cognition by its high presence in the frontal lobe. However, I do know that GABA prevents anxiety, stress, and fear induced by overexcited neurons. If you recall the set of graphs I showed you, you might realize that the study also measured math anxiety. And there is a significant difference when it is compared to graphs A and B, which measure mathematical reasoning and numerical operations. Therefore, I think it is safe to hypothesize that the reason why more GABA results in better cognition is because it prevents emotions like fear or anxiety to arise. This is something that people might experience on a daily basis. It is now a common thing to say, wait, I'm not stupid, I'm just panicking, when people cannot solve simple problems. And my point is, with math, you just might overcome that unnecessary panicking. The epitome of such a case is the shocking story of George Dantzig. George Dantzig, who would later become a famous mathematician, was late to his statistics class. As soon as he arrived, he saw two statistics problems that he mistook as homework problems. In reality, those problems were the two unsolved statistics problems which earned him his PhD. So while George was thinking that these two problems were the good old homework problems, his classmates, who could not solve the problem, had the nervousness of solving the unsolved statistics problems. Regardless of my hypothesis being accurate or not, multiple studies now suggest that higher GABA concentrations in the frontal lobe, which are positively correlated with receiving a math education, is associated with superior cognitive abilities. It should be no mystery to you too that cognitive abilities, which involves your memory, logic, processing speed, and focus, are indeed necessary in today's fast-paced competitive world. Companies hire people who could solve their problem fast and efficiently. You need to enhance your cognitive ability to actually meet companies' needs or your own needs for that matter. That is why the author of the first study mentions in the beginning the financial implications of not studying math. The consequences of not choosing math as an A-level subject can be significant. When controlling for potential confounding factors such as economic status, it emerged that this decision to not study math as an A-level subject can lead to an 11% decrease in financial income compared to those who choose to study math as a part of their A-level curriculum. No other A-level subject category is associated with such a wage premium. This is because most of the good-paying jobs out there in the market require good analytical and critical thinking skills, which can be significantly improved through studying math. If you look at the data from the US and Europe, you will mostly see healthcare, law, and tech-related jobs that pay the most, which do require a certain level of math education and great critical thinking skills. Following them comes the jobs that involve intense mathematics such as finance and engineering related jobs. In addition to this, I would like to express the advantage of tech and engineering jobs since most of them only require a bachelor's degree. Without having to spend 4 or 5 more years, just to land a decent job is a priceless opportunity. So it is no wonder that in the World Economic Forum's list of top 10 skills of 2025, you see analytical thinking, complex problem solving, creative thinking, and analysis, which are all bundled in learning math. If you also look at the countries with the highest math scores in the PISA exam, they are the most prosperous and peaceful countries. It should be no surprise that an educated population would result in a relatively healthier democracy and a better economy. With the US being an outlier, the economic giants like China, Japan, South Korea, Germany, and the UK all have a well-rounded math education for its population. The US's high school education is not only subjected to class division and segregation, even in so-called progressive states, but it's also lower in quality when compared to other European countries. But US has more of something that other countries do not have: international students and immigrants. United States hosts most of the international students around the globe, and guess what ethnicity those international students are of? That's right, Asians. Specifically those from South Korea and China, who have benefited from the high-quality math education in their country. As you also can see from these data, educated migrants prefer a future in America rather than their own country. There's a huge brain drain happening towards the US, not only from China, but even from Europe. You can check out Hoog's video on this matter. So that's why the US is an outlier. All in all, a good education in math has major economic benefits to individuals and nations alike. When I was in high school, I loved learning math and excelled at it. Not only I excelled at it in school, but I also won 2 bronze and a silver medal from math competitions. For some of you out there, these might be very minor accomplishments, but for me it was a huge deal. I was definitely not the best, as I had friends who were and still are 100 times better than me. But that did not create any imposter syndrome in me, as I genuinely liked studying math. As for the benefits, I do not know where to begin. The sheer joy after you solve a really hard problem and the boost in confidence you get is priceless. It's like working out, but with your brain. Furthermore, I have recently gotten into programming and learned languages like Python and JavaScript. They do not necessarily require a knowledge in math, but they do require analytical thinking and enhanced problem-solving skills, which are hard to earn without a subject like math. I genuinely think that my math education eased my learning of programming, even though the actual math I used in the programming was middle school material. Speaking of programming, jobs that require a background in programming pay salaries that can go beyond $100,000 a year. So that's another reason why you should learn math. As you can see, folks, studying math is extremely beneficial. It allows you to have financial and intelligence gain. But aside from the material reasons, math can be considered as our sixth sense, as Eddie Wu, a famous math teacher, describes. You should definitely check out his TED Talk. We live and become aware of our surroundings by figuring out patterns, trends, and relationships. Although these elements are also present in fields like science and social studies, math allows you to use your imagination to its fullest extent. The limitations of math are merely the elements that make up math itself. In a sense, math allows us to understand what is beyond our universe. You certainly do not need to take a math class in school to learn math. There are thousands of YouTube channels that teach math in a fun and creative way. My personal favorite is Epic Math Time, so you can go ahead and check out his channel. Okay, that is all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or objections, please comment down below. And let me remind you that there are no stupid questions. Thank you for watching.